Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pod TV's number one do it yourself advocate show, Timeshare Solution or Surrender. I am one of the co founders of Pod TV, and I have been working with Irene for close to 3 years now. And I just want to say that she has made a tremendous amount of progress in how some of the things are being done and how changing some of the laws that will make things so much better for victims of timeshares. But her whole concept of this show is about helping people realize that sometimes you're not a victim. Sometimes it's just a matter of how you use everything that you're doing. But everyone, welcome, Irene. Hi. How are
And
you doing?
I'll start by saying we didn't plan to both wear red today. So
I it's been one of those days. Let me tell you. And I
yeah,
know. Well, I literally walked in time on the studio to you started the show.
yeah,
Congratulations, you did that on your own. So
exactly. And we have a lot to talk about today. We have two guests with us. This is Timeshare Solution or Surrender, episode 104. And Tarda is Timeshare and Resort Developer Accountability, but we're launching a new trade name. We'll be talking about that at a future show. But our guest today is John
hello, John.
from Maryland, and he's busy at work, so we're going to have him talk to us first, and then he's going to hop off. And we appreciate him working us in because I know he's really, really busy with many things going on. And we have returning guest Tracy.
Hello, Tracy.
And what happens sometimes with Pod TV guests is they turn into good friends. So Tracy was first on our show May 24, 2024. So a little over 2 years ago. I think it's fair to say you were a basket case. You called and said, "I'm gonna look at a bankruptcy attorney." And I said, "Well, according to attorney Mike Finn, don't do that because it could be an abandoned asset, and after 7 years, you find out you still own it." And then she was also on September 24, episode 32. Very interesting to go back and look at that. We're going to start with John, but before we do that, we're going to showcase 25 minutes live today and then 35 minutes pre-recorded. And Brian Rogers of Tug, Jeremy of Destination Timeshare on down the list. So if you're watching the show for the first time, John Cushman's scam hotline is amazing. John has a few things to say about exit companies. So the other thing we want to make sure that we showcase is the Timeshare Transparency Act. And what we try to do is take everybody's report and tie it to one of these provisions. And I think John would agree that providing clear documented options to exit ownership at purchase would have resulted in him not buying his Club Exploria timeshare. And next week, we have another Club Exploria that was pretty happy that after 3 years, she's getting refunded from the exit company. And we also have our board president, Sheila, who's being hounded by the timeshare industry lobby is ARDA, and they're in partnership with Blackwell Recovery, a debt collector, which is kind of odd because they're supposed to be our advocates. And what we have some pretty big news to start with. We have Kimberly and I took a field trip up to Washington, D.C. with Sheila. Two other people joined us, and Senator John Curtis of Utah and Senator Adam Schiff, bipartisan Timeshare Transparency Act. And just 4 days ago, we learned of a companion House bill. And this bill was introduced by Glenn Thompson, GT they call him, in Pennsylvania. And the co-sponsor, Florida Congresswoman Kathy Castor. And I notice on her website she has a lot to say about veterans. John has a security clearance. I forfeited my retirement when I heard about a Navy couple in 2017 that were forced to default on a timeshare loan, told they could easily refinance because they're military. And Tracy's nodding her head because she's experienced that as well. Last reminder is to make sure you file, if you have a dispute, file with the Federal Trade Commission. You think they're not listening, but they are. They are especially concerned with active duty service members, and I have a report of 20 of them with security clearance concerns. So with that, John, you're not alone with Club Exploria, and now you've learned to be grateful that you don't have a loan and what you're thinking about doing on maintenance fees. Tell us how long you've owned Club Exploria. Have you used it? Did you attempt to reach out to them, and was there any response? And why are you wanting to cancel? There's about 5 questions in there.
Well, I came down on vacation to a hotel, but somebody there said, "Oh, my reservation, they couldn't fulfill it," and they sent me to Club Exploria, and then they gave me some free days, and it was really not. It is really nice when I was there 10 years ago or whatever. And then they gave me another year free, and then they said, "Well, hey, we're giving you this free time. It's time for you to buy something." So I said, okay, it seems really nice. And I bought it. And then, the maintenance fees were a lot lower then. It worked out for a while. And then they sold us more a couple years ago, saying, well, it's going to lower your maintenance fee and you're going to be able to rent it out and different things.
Stop you there. Did you buy a week or did you buy Expo points?
Expo points. We bought the second. So we turned in that contract, buying another contract that added annual instead of biannual or whatever. And so we upgraded to more points, figuring we could rent it out. But that turned out not to be not true.
You can, but it's very difficult to do it.
My demographic for the resorts just started changing over the years. It's like it's just not, well, I could go into all kinds of things. But anyway, the maintenance fee's been going up. And
how long have you owned it?
Probably maybe 6 years or more.
Can you tell us how they?
8 years.
What did they start with, and what they are about now? Do you know?
Well, I just went to a meeting actually. I'm trying to relocate to Florida because to get a mortgage, I have good credit and I'm working. So I said, well, let's get the new place now, then stop paying on that. And while I'm working, and which I might not be forever. So it was pretty low in the beginning, like 800 or something, but now it's 2650 for last year. They told me this coming year is 2,900.
Wow.
They made me an offer. They did make me an offer. They said, if you give us 10 years worth of maintenance fee, which includes inflation, which came out to 39,000, you could get these new 10-year plans where you can get out after 10 years. You have a 3-month window to get out of it. I was like 39,000.
First of all, if that's not in the contract, it is a complete fabrication, and I'm sure it's not in the contract.
But it was a high pressure sales, and we just told them we had an appointment and we left. So
well, thank goodness you didn't do that. And
we closed on the mortgage here now, so we could just stop paying them.
And you attempted to sell through Sell My Timeshare Now. People need to avoid these upfront listing companies. Do you remember what you paid?
Well, they wanted I forget, 4,000 or 5,000 to begin with, and they came down to 300. I said, at 300, I'll list it online. And anyway, it's been over a year, at least a year, and I haven't gotten one single hit. And I've listed it, first they want you to list it high, and then it's down. it went down to $1. Then maybe I should push it up, and maybe I'm scaring people, but there's no activity there. It's just, and I went to a lot of meetings. I go to these meetings that they bring together at hotels. I just went to one a couple months ago in Wilmington, Delaware. They had a lot of people there, $8,000. People were signing, and I was just like, they don't have lawyers, their strategy. And I run this stuff, I run all their contracts through AI, and I do a lot of research with a lot of AI stuff that could just get all kinds of information. And it just tears up the contracts, and it just says it's, most of these exit companies, all of them. I think that one might be Wesley, but Wesley told me he won't do Exploria. He's the only one that I know might be above board.
Well, that was it because they know that you can default, and or was it because they were
They
sued?
said they can't. They said they won't pay for anything. They won't. They won't do any buyout. They won't do any forgiveness, any buyout. I said we have medical problems. They just said they
No.
don't. And I went to this meeting, and when the meeting they said they don't. They only do that 10-year thing. So you're tied in for 10 years.
No, they don't. That's fabrication. I'm sure that they don't have that. And we know that they're sneaky because they were sued by the North Carolina Attorney General for making illegal robocalls.
Right.
They would call and say, "Hi, I'm with Helping Hands," which I looked him up if it's the same organization that helps orphans. All you have to do is stay at Summer Bay and tell us how much you liked it. And so then they were also sued in Illinois for making illegal robocalls because you're required to identify yourself. They lost that lawsuit. I haven't followed up to see what's going on. But I want to, before, I know you have to get back to
You know what they did about that? They assessed homeowners $7,000 each.
7,700 Summer Bay.
$7,000.
Yeah, I think just Summer Bay owners, because in addition to having weeks, they have houses, not just condo units. But I want to read a quote that you said, because I thought this is one of the best ones, Kimberly. You'll like this one. It's unfair to pay for a product we don't want that can't be given away. Some people can't use it. And so John wrote, "It is like racketeering. They won't break your fingers, but they will threaten and harass even a loan shark, and the IRS will let me settle." So
it's a matter of who's been running the timeshares. If you take a look at the type of people who own them, which we've seen who they are, and when you see who they are, they control the laws, they control the pocketbooks of the people who do the laws. And so they've gotten away with basically everything but murder, and who knows. But again, this is a product that gains no value when you buy it. And of course you hear, well, neither does a car, but you literally the next day cannot resell it for what you just paid for it. And the rescission period is 3 days. And, by the time you get
3 to 10,
but by the time you even get to use it, to realize whether you've been scammed or not, it's way beyond the rescission period. It always has been. So you don't know whether it's everything that they sold you or told you. And in many cases, what they tell you in a sale is not what you really bought. And that's one of the things that is very disturbing. The contracts are like a mortgage. They're huge. They're big. They entrap you past death. And yeah, your inherited people can get out of it, but they have to know to contact somebody to get out of it. But when you die, that debt continues to whoever is in your inheritance list. So it doesn't stop when you die. So there's no exit, and that's wrong.
a headache.
That's wrong.
And with a mortgage,
Sheila's going through a lot now. I mean,
yeah, especially with health problems. And with you mentioning mortgage, Tracy, they were so specific with you, Tracy, how he likened the Westgate loan was exactly like, and John, if you have to hop off, thank you for being with us today. But he likened your, which is the subject matter of several lawsuits about a mortgage. What did your salesperson tell you about it being a mortgage?
Well, he said it's basically an investment, just like you would buying a house. It's an investment, and he's taking it from there because they don't do a credit check or a background check or anything with you while you're in the sales presentation. They just give you credit. And he explained that's why the interest rate is so high, because they give it to everybody. Well, they do give it to everybody, but then they make you believe that you are probably one that, they won't just do this for everybody. Because for me, yep, I was already in the timeshare, and it was an upgrade. And they're letting me upgrade, because if I bought today, it would be $100,000. But because I'm already in it, I'm locked into the prices of 2012 where I first bought in. So I upgraded for the $30,000. And then he said, when you get home, he's like, just take this information to your bank. And he said, you could take a mortgage out on it, because that's what it is. It's a mortgage. It's an investment. So it can only go up. And then, of course, my kids are going to inherit this, and my family. So there's really no way out. My bank actually said we will not mortgage the timeshare. The only way to get a loan on it is to take a personal loan. And then I could pay off the timeshare, and I could have probably a lower interest rate, but then I'm still paying whatever at the time, 11 or 12% interest on a personal loan to pay off $30,000. And if I would have done that, yes, it being from went from 18% down to 12, I would be really, really stuck right now.
And you did your timeshare math, unfortunately, after you bought. So you paid for 34,000. You financed 28,700 at 17%. You, after 7 months of making payments, the amount financed was 29,700, and it was still over 29,000. And if you paid the 10 years, it would have been 64,000. You can take an awful lot of vacations with that. Westgate versus Steins versus Westgate, active duty military. Westgate lost at the lower court. Judge Dalton ended the session saying, when I check out of a timeshare, I can't leave my underwear and toothpaste. And so they appealed. They lost at the appellate court. They, we're all, are we here? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
I don't
Let me. Oh, good.
I'm still here.
Yeah, Mark came on for a second, and it was like we had a ghost. Anyway, they lost at the appellate court, and it's gone back down to the lower court. It's very hard to get a class action for deception because damages or liabilities are not uniform, but they did get partial certification for a class. Also, Fannie Mae and the NCUA, the National Credit Union, on their website specifically has in a footnote, it is not a mortgage, even if it is reported as such. Now, you sent that to the credit reporting agency, didn't you?
Yes.
And they
in the very beginning, yes, I sent it all with the information, the documentation, and my only response from them was that they won't change it because of the reply they received or the answer they received from Westgate, that it is.
I talked to an attorney, even though it's really not.
Yep.
But if you signed a document, mortgager, mortgagee, and this was somebody that was active duty, and your credit score, thank you for allowing us to share, because this is what people that are contemplating default are most worried about.
Yep.
Is 805 was beginning strokes. It can, for maintenance fees, the worst we've heard, not everybody, 50, 60 points, but yours dropped to 580, but then
Yep.
it came back up to 700, and now it's wobbling around a bit in
Yep.
2 years.
Yes.
So, and I forgot to thank John before he left. He did reach out to his senator, Ashabrook, I think I don't know if I pronounce that right. You reached out to Senator Tammy Baldwin, and we're going to try to do some follow-up with them. And then, did you get many phone calls, correspondence, harassment?
Nothing. I got nothing from Westgate at all. I haven't been getting the letters or the phone calls or anything the way that I've been following other people have, and that's why I believe everybody is different. Every single person's case is different, because
Yes.
there are some that get constant harassment from them, phone calls, letters, emails, whatnot. We haven't received any. In the very beginning, after the first 2 months of not paying, we received one phone call and one letter. And after that, nothing. I still get the maintenance bill every year. I still get, correspondence that have something to do with the resort itself, but nothing as far as, trying to collect from me. And being that it's been 2 years, I'm kind of still wondering, like, when are you just going to be done with this?
Well, and
When
then
are you?
I always watch the show afterwards to see if I said something wrong. And last week I did. And I said that every state has a statute of limitations, 3 to 6 years, I believe it is. And after 6 years, what I said incorrectly was they cannot pursue you. But what the accurate statement would have been is they can't sue you, but they can pursue you. We had some audio problems last week, so I was a little bit rattled. And then you were also told, now this is a broken record. I got so mad. I put together 18 Wyndham people that were told they could rent, and it's gotten even worse. One person was told that Wyndham owns Airbnb and VRBO. One person went back, she's going to be on an upcoming show. She went back and recorded the quality assurance agents that I'm going to leave that hanging in the wind. I was astounded when I heard that recording. But what did they tell you about being able to rent, Tracy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, multiple times we were told that if we upgraded, we would have 2 free weeks on top of the week we already had. And then we could rent those out like easily. They mailed us coupons with our code on it, give those to friends, family, whoever. And if they used that voucher, we would get paid $50 per person. And we could rent any weeks that we're not going to use or that we had available out, and that would cover our maintenance costs every year. Not because I said, well, if we just rent it, but if we're going to use it, we're not going to make the maintenance costs. But my maintenance fees went from $1,100 up to $2,700
Wow.
a year, just in
Yeah.
the 2 years that I had it, and I only paid it one time.
Well, and then I forgot to mention that we have a Club Exploria Hostages Facebook group and a Westgate Hostages
Yeah.
Facebook group. I got to name it. I suggested it. It was launched by AKA Ben Dover. Ben has 2 N's. And it really took off like a rocket. And so it's really helpful to have that kind of support on a safe place. And
Yes.
not only did they hold up signs, and everybody that held up signs was able to resolve their dispute. And they also did a public records request. They did a little GoFundMe. They wanted to raise 500. They raised 1,000, and there were 585 complaints with Westgate, of which 251, nearly half, mentioned renting. And it's driving people into default, and it's just wrong. So this show is not easy to do, but it's provided so much support
Mhm.
And it's, we can send these links to lawmakers because the lawmakers we spoke with, they hadn't even thought about the fact that you don't get access to the booking site until after the contract cancellation period has expired. And even
Months.
though, yeah, this
Mhm.
14 days would help to standardize it, a lot of times you don't have access to the booking site for a month. But it's been quite a journey. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming back because there'll be somebody that is just prepared to default on Westgate. And I'll say, watch episode 13. What did
Yep.
I say? 32 and 104.
Yep.
And you'll see a metamorphosis into bionic timeshare woman here.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
and until then, be careful before you buy. Read the contracts all the way through. Don't buy anything until you've had an attorney review them with you, or watch some of these shows and come and ask questions. But like anything, this is a huge investment that you can never get out of. There is absolutely
Pam,
no,
let me stop you. That reading the contract doesn't help
no,
you
it
with
doesn't.
renting. And it
No,
doesn't help you with availability because
no, because
availability is not
everything
fun.
they told you isn't really what they sold you. So
Yep.
just be very careful. And, don't be afraid asking questions. This is an advocate group. This doesn't cost you any money. And it's helpful to talk to people who've already experienced what is going on, but also people who are experienced in fighting some of the situations. We're here every week, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Timeshare Solutions or Surrender. We always look for the solutions. Irene seems to find a lot of solutions, and her Tarda team, oh my goodness, they are on
Mhm.
it. That you cannot do this without a team. She may be the face, but don't take this wrong, Irene, but even your husband is your team. Like,
Yes,
you have an amazing group of people who work very hard because we all get very emotional and passionate about what's happening.
and I just introduced Tracy a few days ago, right, to someone that's oh yes, and
Just
they're severely hearing impaired because of military. So I'm hoping they'll be on the show in the future. But Kim, thank you. Looks like we're out of time
We're
and
out of
appreciate
time.
you and Mark and Nick and everybody and Sean. So thank you
Till we see you
all.
next week. Take care.
all
Bye.
right. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.